I'm Chuck Sharkey. I've been living here in Traer about 5 years. We have a small acreage northeast of town here, and I'm not a master beekeeper. This class is basically just an introduction to what you need, what you'd have to do if you wanted to experiment with it yourself. I'll show you some of the equipment I have, how I got involved in it, and kind of the progression that I've gone through to get where I am at. Right now I have 3 hives. One of the hives is a home-built hive that I built myself. I can say an experimental hive, but actually it's one of the oldest hives that's kind of finding new favor to home gardeners and that who want to have bees, but they're not looking to become a production farm. They just want to have a few bees around to help the environment, help their garden, and just to sit and watch them. I mean, it's really amazing. The honeybee is, when you watch it collect and function in the hive and the social environment that it develops, it's really interesting. So,
what's the name of the hive that you built?
oh, the experimental one, the one that I built is called a top bar hive. And your standard hive is set up like this. Now they'll come in 8 frame and they'll come in 10 frame. And the frames are these little frames, and they'll have a backing on them that the bees can build their comb out on. So the hive that I built is basically like a hog trough. It's a V, and it's got 2 ends on it, and then it's got bars. Now the bars are a specific size, and there was a monk back in the 1700s, I believe it was, who studied bees and wrote a book, one of the first books on bees, and found that there was what they call bee space, and it's 3/8 of an inch. Anything more than 3/8 of an inch, the bees will want to build comb. Anything less than 3/8 of an inch, and they try and fill it with propolis. Propolis there's 3 things that honeybees usually produce. They produce wax, they produce propolis, and they produce and pollen. Now the pollen is what basically is their protein source, and then the honey is their carbohydrates, and then the wax is what the foundation for building their living on. Now, so the top bar, each bar is a specific width, and they usually have some type of attachment to keep the comb straight. Now, I just put a little V on mine, so they're 3/8 inch and 3/8 wide, and then I have a strip that runs down the center. Now, some people will put a little wax strip down the center that the bee's going to start attaching to. Some people put a groove in there and fill it with wax, and the bees attach to that. Other people put protrusions, either something like a ruler, a piece of ruler, and then the bees attach to that. But that helps keep them going straight, because if you don't have something, they will build their comb in a more natural way. And if you've ever seen a natural, in nature, their comb is curved like this, and it'll be in layers. And when their main home, what they'll do is the center of the brood chambers will be where they lay their eggs. The outside will be where they'll store their honey. So they'll build up in the center with their brood, and then store their honey on the outside and the tops. Now, usually you'll find a section of honey crosses the top, and that's what they use to feed their, and then they'll have a section of honey and then a section of pollen, and that's what they use to help feed the brood. So, so I built, what got me started was I was in Iraq. I was deployed to Iraq 2 years ago, and I like honey. I've always liked honey, and in my job, which was flying medevac for the unit I was with, there's a lot of time, a lot of free time, and we did have internet. So I'd go on the internet and start doing research, and all of these different ideas started to come out. Well, they start sitting there in the back of your mind, and I got home and I said, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. So I got home and ordered the bees. Now, when you order your bees, you have to order them in January, from about November through March. Towards March, a lot of the people who sell the bees run out because the last few years, winter's been hard. A lot of people have lost their hives. The colony collapse disorder that you hear about on the radio all the time. So sometimes they will run out about that February, March time frame. They'll start getting hard to find the bees. So you have to start planning out ahead of time and get your bees ordered, and then you can get your equipment, or you get your equipment and order your bees.
How do you get your bees?
Okay. So there are a number of places. One of the places you can look is through the Beekeeping Association. They have different phone numbers and places you can call. There's also on Craigslist, there are a couple of, I shouldn't say a couple, there are numerous beekeepers, master beekeepers around the state that are, sell their own packages. And they'll sell packages in nooks. So when you want to get your order, you want to kind of know what you're ordering. There are probably 3 main types of bees that you'll see, and there's little differences. Some bees, you have Italian bees, Corleona bees, Russian bees, and there's probably about 10 different breeds, but those are the 3 main ones you'll see here. Italians tend to be a little bit more docile. They tend to produce a lot of young early in the spring, so you can get your production going early. The Russians are a new breed coming into the country that are from northern part of Europe that have a real, they're self-cleaning. Right now there's a mite, it's like a little wood tick that goes on a bee, and it's become a real problem go ahead.
What kind of bees do you have?
I have both. It just worked out that when I got the one, my first ones were Italians, and then this year I bought a package of Corleones, and so I have both. And I really haven't been doing it long enough to notice the main difference. And sometimes what happens is they get kind of interbred anyway. So if you have Italians, and the Italian queen is producing drones, and the Corleones are producing drones, and then you have a queen go out and fly around and get mated, it may mate with a drone from the other hive. So if you have them close, they'll kind of get mixed up a little bit. But
A drone is a worker bee? Is
yes.
that, okay.
You have 3 types of bees in a hive. You have the queen, and there's only one queen in a hive. You'll have the workers, which are all female, and and then you'll have the drones, and the drones are males. Now, the queen basically sets the stage for the hive. She controls everything, and it's through the release of pheromones from her body. She'll tell, she decides if the hive's getting too crowded, they'll get up and leave. If the hive is not producing enough, she'll lay more eggs. Queen can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day. It takes about 21 days to hatch a worker bee. So if she lays 2,000 eggs, 21 days later, you can expect another 2,000. Well, it's 1,000 to 2,000 eggs. You see it, it varies according to how the age of your queen is. The queen gets older, she'll start producing less. And there again, she's the queen, but if she starts getting to a point where she's not keeping the hive vital enough, they'll rebel and they'll start building a new queen cell, and they'll start building a new queen. Now they do this by, they'll create a little peanut-shaped appendage of wax, and they'll build it off of a normal egg, but they'll feed that egg what they call royal jelly, and it's all of them get royal jelly, but the queen will get royal jelly for a longer period of time, and her incubation is longer. So then they can, as long as they have an egg that's within a certain time frame, and I think it's no more than 3 days old, they can turn it into a queen. So if you're inspecting your hive someday and you pull it up and you smash the queen, they're gonna all of a sudden go around and say, "There's no queen in here," and they'll say, well, they'll get together and say, "Well, we gotta get a new queen," and she'll come out. She'll be a virgin queen. Now, normally they'll build more than one queen cell, and the first queen to hatch will kill the other rivals. So the queen can sting, but unlike the workers, her stinger is more permanent. Worker stinger, if you ever been stung by a honeybee, the stinger rips out of its abdomen and it dies. And if you look at that stinger real closely, you'll see a little sac attached to it. Now that's the poison sac, or the venom sac. Now the best way to remove that is take a credit card or a finger or a stick or something and scrape it off. Don't try and pluck it out like this, because when you grab it, you'll squeeze more venom into you. So try and scrape it off. And when one honeybee stings you, she releases pheromones again, and as you can tell, the honeybees are pretty much controlled by scent, and that pheromone release will let the other bees know, say, "Hey, I just encountered a threat over here. You might want to come over and give me a hand,
great.
get the threat away."
Okay, so then they all come.
Yeah, so then, and they don't, I haven't experienced it yet where I have had more than one bee sting me in the same place. One day I went down, I had my grandchildren there, I was going to show them the hive, and I didn't put on my suit, I didn't take the smoker, didn't take the gloves, because I was just going to open up, show them all the bees, and I lifted the top off like this, and one of the bees come out like a crazy woman, and she went right for my finger. I mean, it was like, boom, she seen my finger, and she was going to attack it. So she stung me. Well, I backed up, got back, like I said, scraped the stinger off, and went back while another bee came, and the pheromone must have still been there, because it landed almost in the same place, stung me again. And I'm slightly allergic, so my hand got as big as a balloon for the next couple of days. I took some antihistamines and that. But then the stingers were there, and so you gotta take them out.
Okay, so I'm gonna redirect you because I know we have a short period of time in the hour. So, Chuck, you were saying once I get the bees ordered in
Okay.
January from February, then what do I do?
Okay, then you get your equipment. Now, there's a couple different places. There's I've been using this company, Man Lake, and they have a good supply of everything you need to keep bees. You can order. You order more than $100 worth of stuff, they ship it free. Another option, and it's just as good because you don't have to worry about shipping and everything. Right now, Tyson's and Blaine's are having equipment. They have. I've actually seen a complete set. It runs about. What you get is you'll get a brood chamber. You get a bottom board. You get the top. What they call this is called a telescoping cover, and then they call it inner cover. Now, the kit they have, and I've seen this in a couple stores, not all the stores have it. You'll get the bee suit and the bee brush and the gloves and this type of hat. And it comes all in the kit. Now, the thing I found out is one brood super for this climate, it's kind of hard to keep enough bees in there to winter over. Keep enough bees and keep enough food stock to winter over. And then your first year, you probably won't need a honey super, but your second year, for sure, you're going to need that, because that's where you're going to get your honey from that you're going to keep. So, but you can start out with this, and this, and be good. Now, the other thing you'll need, so these are the kind of gloves you'll normally see. These run about, I think they're about $12 at Blaine's. The hat, if you want to just buy it individually, the hat will run you about another, I think it was $19. So, the individual equipment, you can piecemeal it if you want. Another option is, there are people selling their equipment. You know, there's people get into it and get out of it. So there is some used equipment out there, and it's just as good. I have an old smoker. Smoker's important because if you're dealing with your bees, you always want to smoke them. There's some conflicting reports about what the smoke does. Some say it causes the bees to think that there's a fire. They go in, they gorge themselves, and they come out, go in, get honey, and they're just worried about, salvage and hive. Others say it covers the pheromones, and that's when they sting you, it covers that pheromone, and they don't react to it.
This is how you get your bees.
Keep me on track.
Hey,
Trying, honey.
Chuck,
We're
can
running
you-
out of time.
Can you introduce Jeanette, please?
Yeah, this is my wife, Jeanette.
Hello.
She's a longtime Trail resident.
Yes, I am.
This is what would be a package of bees. Normally it's a 3 pound. I've seen different sizes. Some say 2 pounds, some say 3 pound. Normally in a 3 pound package there's about 10 to 15,000 bees. It'll be pretty full when you get it. Also, what will be, you have this can, and this will be the food that keeps them fed while they're being transported. And they can be in there a couple of weeks.
Sorry, she's not listening.
Oh, that's okay. And then the other thing you get in the package is you get the queen. Now the queen will come in a little cage. Now they put her in here because these bees normally, if you get on the internet, you'll see it, they'll have a big funnel. And they'll go to their hive, and they'll pull out the frames, and they'll go over this funnel, and they'll shake the frames, use the brush, and brush them into that funnel, and they'll fall in there. Now, they'll be all mixed up from different hives and that. The workers don't mind being mixed together as long as they're not used to one queen. But they'll still have the scent of the old queen, and they'll smell a new queen, and they'll want to kill her. So they put her in here to kind of protect her, and sometimes there'll be a couple of tender bees in there with her, and there'll be a cork in the end of it. Now this one, when they sent it to me, first ones I got didn't have it, but this one had what they call bee candy, and usually it's, I've heard of people using peppermint sticks. I use marshmallow, and you just take the wood out, wood cork out, and you put that bee candy or marshmallow in there, and then you put it in the hive. You just put it in between the frames someplace, or you put it on the bottom. There are people doing that. You put it on the bottom, and the bees will eat the candy out from the bottom and release the queen. By that time, her pheromones have infiltrated the hive, and they'll take her as the queen.
So show them what's in there.
Yep.
Go along.
Well, okay, so that's the package. That's
Queen
the
bee,
package.
right there, queen bee.
That's the package. Now this is what they would call a nook. Now a nook will be this size normally, and it's got 5 frames in it. This is the frame. Now this is a plastic foundation. In the old days they used wax. They'd roll out sheets of wax and put the comb design on. Now they found that the bees actually build the size of these, and if they're the wrong size, it'll affect their production, or they'll make more drones, more males. So there's been a lot of work with the foundation. Now, plastic foundation's nice if you're just going to have 1 or 2 hives, like I did last year. I pulled the frame out, and then I took a sharp knife and I just scraped it off into the strainers, which strained into a 5-gallon bucket. I had one honey super, which was 10 frames of this, and I had almost 3 gallons of honey out of that one. So they'll build out their comb. Well, I'll show you. They'll build out the comb.
And when you place them, if there's a fence there, so you have put their home facing the fence. Okay, so let's say it's a solid fence. When they come out, they will immediately know that's there, and they will go up and they will go over and out and get their honey or their flower, because they're bee stuff. And if you remove that wall, those bees will still come out, just like that wall was there, and go out hunting. So, like if you're in town and you have a gate or something there, they won't go around it. They'll just do the same thing they always do, because they're going up in the air.
And they come back to the hive the same way you leave the hive. So and that's how they find themselves, is they'll go out, they know they gotta go up for so many seconds, then they take another turn, and when they come back, they'll take those exact turns in opposite. I was told a bee has 2 memories. One's a short-term memory, and the other one's like a three-day memory. So if you can keep a bee boxed up for 3 days, you can move the hive around, and then it won't remember the old location, it'll remember the new location.
And they do work themselves to death.
Yes, the workers will actually.
And the workers are females or males?
The workers are all females. Going back to that, you have the queen, you have the workers, and you have the drones. The drones are the males, and their sole purpose is to breed with the queen. And once they breed with the queen, they die.
They're loafers.
The ones that don't breed at the end of the season, when it starts getting cold, the hive kicks them out. Says, "You're out of here. You're no purpose anymore," and they're left to die. The hive won't support them, and then next year they'll produce new ones. So this is what they call a nook. This would be a fully established hive. Now some of them would be paper, some of them are plastic, some of them you have to return, some of them you pay a deposit on and you keep them. But anyway, this is one I built, They're called 5-frame nook, and the bees will be established in here. You'll have a queen that's already set up. Normally, you'll have drawn out comb, and all you'll have to do is go to your hive brood chamber, pull these out of the nook, and put them into your brood chamber. And then normally you put the 5 frames that are already built, drawn comb in the center with empty ones on the outside, and they'll start building. A package now will run you about $105 to $120. A nook will run you about $150, and then with the deposit of whatever you have to pay. So that's kind of.
You get your queen bee and you hang it in your nook then?
No. The nook will already have the queen established in here.
Oh, okay.
You'll probably, when you pull this frame out, you'll have drawn out comb, and you'll have larvae and eggs. If you can imagine.
No, Chuck, I mean, when we get that from whoever we get from,
Mhm.
this package,
Yes.
Yes.
then, and we have that, so there's 2 different things that we get. We have that one and we have that one.
Well, there are 2 different options for getting your bees.
Oh, okay, I got
This is
that.
2
I didn't
different
understand that. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so
So tell them how you got the bees from there to there.
when you get a package, it's kind of interesting because they're fairly docile because they want to minimum stinging. They want to preserve themselves, so they're pretty docile and they try and hang tight. So you really carefully take this out, get the bees off, knock the bees off, get your queen out, put your can back in there, or put a piece of cardboard over there. And you want to get your queen all set up and get her established in your hive. Then once you get your queen established in your hive, maybe by just hanging your little,
And she stays there with the, what do you call it, the marshmallow,
Yeah.
still in there.
Okay,
still in it. That way they'll get time to release her. So now, we're all ready, we want to put the bees in the hive. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take and do a thump. You just take and lightly, boom, thump it on the ground. And that's how I broke this one, if you notice it's cracked. I hit it a little bit too hard on the ground. Just knock it down, then you take the can off quick, then you take it and you turn it upside down and shake it. Just shake, shake, shake. And you'll have a few bees flying around, but for the most part, they'll drop in. Now, a good trick to do that, to make them a little bit less flyable, spray them with a little bit of sugar water. They'll be trying to get the sugar water off of them, and they'll clean themselves up. So it'll hold them in there. And just shake them into your hive. I mean, it'll be a big mass in the bottom. So then, once you get them shook in there, make sure your queen, you gotta make sure the queen cage, if you see she's got an opening here, you want to make sure that's out, because the other bees will feed her. Queen doesn't feed herself, the other bees feed her and tend to her. So she's got to be able to get some food, and they'll feed her. So you want to make sure when you put that in your hive, you set it in there so it's that the other bees can get to it. Kind of squeeze that in, and then you just take and set your frames back in there. And you'll have to watch out, don't want to push them in, just kind of set them in there lightly, and the mass of bees will get out of your way. And they'll start crawling around, and there'll still be bees in there that you can't get shook out. And if you leave that open in front of the hive, the other bees will be in there fanning. One thing about a package is normally bees have been in there a while, so I found that they're pretty much already adapted to that queen. But it's still, if you let her loose right away, she might just say, hey guys, I don't like living here, let's go find someplace else to live, and your bees are gone. But if you leave the queen in there, it takes them a while to get established, takes some time to get her out, they kind of say, okay, we've been here, this has been okay, we'll stay here. So, but if you let her out too soon, she might say, hey guys, let's go find someplace else to live. And that can happen. Your bees can, what they call abscond on you. You're out.
Okay, so you're almost out of time.
Okay.
So
Oh, no.
show them some of the bee products that you can make from the honey real quick.
you have 30 minutes left. A whole hour, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a half an hour.
No.
Oh,
You,
never mind, take your time.
yeah, take your time.
Okay.
Oh, wait, questions, take a break.
Sure.
Questions.
How do the bees arrive? FedEx, UPS?
Oh.
Do you have to pick them up?
Uh-huh.
I think, yeah, I haven't found anybody who mails them anymore. They used to mail them in the mail, but I haven't found anybody that mails them anymore.
Last year, mine came in the mail from California,
Oh, did
and
you?
when I got them, they came by mail truck, they were half dead. I never do that again. This year, went down to Kelowna
Uh-huh.
and got them and never lost any.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, if you get them locally, they're acclimated to your area a little bit better. And that's what I've been told anyway. My bees, my first set of bees came from Missouri. Came up on a truck, and he's got a route that he goes through, and I bought them off the truck. The second set, I bought through a friend, and she went down to north of Des Moines, I think it was, and picked him up from a guy down there. So,
And my first set, even though I didn't get as many, I did the top bar like you're talking about.
yeah.
And I had 28 of them combs all filled by the end of fall.
Now see, that's the other thing, you'll attest to this. In 24 hours, in my top bar hive, I had a piece of comb that big.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast they can turn out comb when they want to, because the queen can't lay eggs, they can't store food, they can't do anything until the comb's made. So, it's really amazing to watch them
Now,
work.
do you have the little things where you can see?
No,
See, I got that on both. I got a warrior and a top bar, and we made a thing so we could see them. Because my granddaughter's involved with it with me. She's 4, so she'll go right up there and turn it down and look, and you can see all the bees working.
see now, my top bar this winter didn't winter very well, and it's been struggling all summer to get caught back up. I mean, it's just barely hanging on. But my standard hive, I'm waiting for it to swarm, because it is so crowded that all day long there's bees out in the front landing slough. I got a 45-degree landing porch on the front of my hive where the bees land, and doesn't look like they're in swarming mode. It looks like they're just trying to make more room in the hive.
Mhm.
So,
And I'm doing a warrior hive now because I want to decide which one's going to be better, make more bees for me. And
what's a
so
warrior hive?
a warrior hive is one up and down like you're talking.
Where?
Where, I'm not saying it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then, this is the top bar.
yeah, and mine's is exactly like
Yeah.
that. And, like I said, I built my own top bar,
Mhm.
and they're building the comb great,
Oh, they
But-
build great.
but I think my problem was I should have prepared it better for winter. And I think
Yeah, we went and put bales of hay all around, and then we had the holes turned south. Instead of this way, we turned everything around so it faced that way. And then we put these bales of hay around the whole thing, all the way around, 'cause my brother has it on his farm.
Mhm.
That's what I